Happy Halloween, everyone! This time of year, it's nice to add a little spooky into our lives. Halloween is my favorite holiday, so I did a monster-rific project in anticipation. I hope you enjoy, and let's move on to the goals. The goal is to create a themed set of flashcards. The cards will be related in topic and will look like they are related in appearance and layout. They should be educational and maybe a little weird, but still sophisticated. They should look like something someone would actually buy. Let's look at the requirements I have set for the project. The project should include at least 10 cards that look related in design and layout. The cards will need an image on one side and insightful text on the other. The cards will need a container to be sold in. It needs to look like it's ready to be purchased, meaning all relevant information is included, and a video case study explaining the project and my thinking. The first step is to select a topic. I know I want something spooky, but it also needs to be something that could realistically be turned into a set of cards. I took a few minutes to brainstorm ideas and eventually landed on a topic I was happy with. I decided I would create a set of flashcards about folktale monsters from around the world. Every culture has some kind of story about a monstrous creature. It should provide me with just enough spooky, and with the great variety of monsters to choose from, it should be easy to make an interesting set of cards. Folktale monsters would include things like dragons and vampires, except easy ones like that would just be no fun, so I chose to look for less common folktales. I started by looking at the monster's folktale and how they are often described. I tried to find out where the origins of the myth may come from. I also worked on writing the information that would be on the cards at this point. The best way to ensure that all the cards are a similar style was to draw the monsters myself. I started by choosing an artistic style and medium. I am more comfortable with traditional media, so I will draw them with ink on paper. As for the style, I thought I would try an almost medieval manuscript look. Armed with a plan, I could start drawing. I chose to start small, only drawing one monster and a frame, which I made separately so I could combine them later digitally and reuse it again. I scanned both into Illustrator, then image traced them. This way, they are vectors and can be any size I want while still retaining some of the hand-drawn look. I then made a 6x9cm rectangle with the rounded corners and copied the shape. Using the illustrations, I started playing around with the layout and added a decorative stroke. After I was happy with the layout, I could complete more drawings, but partway through I ran into an issue, as you should with any project. I noticed some of these monsters are water-dwelling. It would be strange for a kraken to be sitting in the middle of the forest. I came to the conclusion that I needed to create another frame, one just for aquatic monsters. Near the end of the project, I chose to create a third frame. Since these monsters shouldn't be real, I had to rely on the descriptions and the work of other artists as reference. I did my best to create my own interpretation of each creature. Each drawing took about 30 minutes to an hour to complete, and some may look a little more like the reference than I originally wanted, but overall I am happy with the results. When all the drawings were complete, I scanned them into the computer and finished the rest of the cards. I copied and replaced the elements that needed to be on each card, and I could move on to the next step. The next step was to create the packaging. I wanted it to be a box, but not your typical card box. It would be a two-piece with a bottom and a lid. I started with a die line, looking at the references and playing around with a couple of mock-ups I made out of cheap copy paper and scrap cardboard. After I landed on something that I think would work, I made the shape in Illustrator and it was time to design the box. I copied one of the cards into a packaging file and then took the background color of the card and used it on the box. In the research stage, I made up some copy that I would place on the box. A similar decorative stroke is on the box to help tie the pieces together. I placed the barcode and a couple of the cards on the box to show what you would get inside. Finally, the art on the front of the box. I tried a couple illustrations that I did. In the end, I chose the illustration for the bunyip since it had some background elements that helps it stand alone without the need of a frame. I printed out a practice copy and I put it together to make sure everything worked. It fit surprisingly well on the first try, so I was comfortable to print out a copy on cardstock, which I had to get professionally done. After I picked up the printout, I was able to cut them, and thanks to the magic of video editing, it's all done. The final step was to create a video case study using the notes I made. I hope you enjoyed my video. This project was a lot of hard work, but it was extremely fun, and in the end, I think it was well worth it.